After considering hundreds of 75 automobiles, Road and Track magazine picked the Volkswagen Rabbit to be the best car in the world for under $3,500. Toyota, Datsun, Pinto, Vega, Honda, Fiat were all considered, but only the Volkswagen Rabbit made it. It's the best car in the world for under $3,500. You gotta drive it to believe it.
Alright, so Mk1 Volkswagens. Maybe you're interested in getting one, maybe you own one, or maybe you just watch my YouTube videos and you're trying to figure out why the heck I'm into this stuff. So the Mk1 community is extremely large, it's global, and whether it's been passed down through generation or you just stumbled into it kind of like I did with a project car, then it's easy for you to understand the passion. For some people it just comes natural, they've been around the cars, but for other people, since these cars are becoming a lot more desirable and popular, and are more or less just looking to get into the Mk1 stuff, I'm going to be breaking down some of the stuff for you guys. Now I'm going to point out some YouTube channels that I really recommend watching, so make sure you do so. I'm not some kind of Volkswagen guru, I just happen to own one of these cars and I love it. I'm going to kind of explain why, and we're going to do a little market research on what these cars are currently going for in today's market. Alright, so as you guys probably can hear, I have my Mk1 Rabbit started up right now. It's a little bit chilly out, so I was gonna go drive the car, but I wanted to talk to you guys and talk about, why the heck would anybody be interested in these cars, and kind of why I am, and I'm gonna show you guys the car if you have not seen it. So if you are new to the channel and you enjoy Volkswagen stuff, Mk1 stuff, or anything old and cool cinematic videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you never miss an upload. We're really trying to achieve some goals this upcoming year with the YouTube channel. And we are currently doing a giveaway, so if you have not seen anything about that, click the video card up here or the link in the description to learn more about the giveaway, because it ends pretty soon and you have a chance of winning. So let's get into it. Why Mk1? Why these cars? Like I said, I'll tell you guys a little bit of why it is for me, and if you're looking at buying one of these cars, I'm going to give you guys some really good pointers on some channels to watch, some people to look out for on social media, and where you can get like your best information from. I wouldn't say that I'm that source, but I'll tell you guys what I know, and I already tell you who explains it better. One of the channels is The Rabbit Hole. That's my good friend Michael. He's really good at explaining. He's upstate New York. He responds on Instagram. He'll answer a bunch of questions. He's super cool, and he really breaks down kind of what it's like owning these cars and the desirable stuff, the early stuff, looking at the late stuff. So if you guys really want explanations on any of the stuff that I'm probably going to say that I like about my car, and he will probably explain it better. Another great channel is Jamie Orr. He has some really cool rare stuff. You got to check him out pretty much. Just go to their channel. They're the guys that are really, really good at explaining this stuff. I'm just going to show you guys my car, why I bought it, and what I like about it, and what it's like to own one of these cars. So here's my 1979 Volkswagen Rabbit 1.5 liter diesel that you probably can hear, although I have the microphone turned around right now facing me. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, this is the car. Like I said, it's a 1979, finished in Canyon metallic. I've owned the car for a little over a year. It's obviously a four-door diesel, as you can hear. It's a very clean car. It only has 47,400 original miles. But let's shut her off and let's talk about some of the things about owning one of these old cars while we're sitting in it. So, I'm explaining this from the perspective of someone that's never seen my channel. This is what it's like to be in a 1979 Volkswagen Rabbit. So this is still a round headlight car. In 1979 and a half, essentially, they went to Late Westy, where they started building these cars in Pennsylvania, actually about 3 hours west of where I live. And those were the early Westies. So I wouldn't really consider this so much to be an early Rabbit, although it kind of is. So it being a 79, earlier 79, we have the circular headlights, still with the short tail lights, and then in 1979 and a half, roughly, or whatever you would consider that, probably even before then, they went to the square front end for early Westy with still the short tail lights and very similar interior. So there are just, very subtle differences, some major differences between a lot of these cars, but this being a more earlier one, especially being a diesel, at this time in the United States, there was no GTI. So you had a clock instead of a tach and a speedo. Alright guys, so we are on the computer. We're basically going to be doing a little bit of a market research just to show you guys kind of what these cars are going for. This is, again, if it's something that maybe you're curious about, you don't understand it, if you watch my channel, or maybe you're just looking to get into these cars. So we're going to do your typical Facebook Marketplace search, an eBay search, and even more expensive things such as Bring a Trailer. But let's just start off with a 60-mile radius of where I live. Now, this will be different for a lot of you guys, so you know, depending on how far you're willing to go for a car. Thankfully, I bought my car about 2 hours away from me. I got pretty lucky, but, you know, depending on where you live, you may not find them. But that also may be a good thing, because if they do come up for sale, they're most likely cheaper in a less saturated area. But as you guys can see, there's really not a lot for sale right now. But I'm just going to show you guys kind of the price of what some of these cars go for. Cabrios are usually a lot cheaper. But like I said, just kind of by digging around on the internet and looking, you guys can kind of see what these vehicles are going for as far as price and the condition that they're in. Now, whether you think that these prices are worth it or not, it's just kind of a supply and demand type of thing. And really, these cars are passing that 40-year-old mark, so they're no longer what they used to be. And people are starting to go back to these cars. They're starting to want them. Maybe they used to own one. Alright, so let's check eBay. Now, like I said, depending on where you're from, like, these aren't called Rabbits everywhere, they're called Golfs and stuff, so you guys may have a totally different market. But I'm going to show you guys what more clean vehicles go for. As you can see here, this is with 33,000 miles, and if you're into cabrios, you know, that's a very clean car, but that's a pretty hefty price. But right here, let's just take a look at this. This is an example of what looks to be a relatively clean truck. We're going to go to the most expensive pretty much place to go. So far we have, there was a GTI up here the other day, but that must be gone. So currently the only Mark 1 is this Scirocco Callaway Turbo, which this is like a Mark 1 or Mark 1.5 or whatever people consider these ones to be. But I think it's still pretty much a Mark 1, although there are earlier Sciroccos that I prefer. But this is a pretty cool car. Current bid's at $7,800. It ends in a day, so I'm going to keep my eye on it just to kind of see where that ends up. Now, going back to Facebook, one of the best groups you can join is Burn All the Mark 1s. Now, this is where you can really look through and you can find a lot more cars. This is more of, you know, an enthusiast-driven way of finding vehicles. You have people posting parts. So this is just pretty much the perfect place. I've bought a ton of things through Burn All the Mark 1s. I've met a ton of awesome people, and this is really where, you know, you can see kind of what these cars are selling for all across the globe, and you can probably find something that's pretty close to you for the right price. You know, there's always awesome vehicles in here, and like I said, there's a ton of knowledge and people that really have a passion and understanding for these cars, and they've been around these cars their entire life. So for me, this place, Burn All the Mark 1s, is pretty much a lifesaver. And there's also VW Vortex you can go through. That's a forum website. If you're not familiar with that, that helps out a lot with finding these cars and just understanding a lot about these cars. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If it helped, make sure to leave a like, also subscribe and turn on those notifications, and make sure if you have any questions to drop them in the comment section, and check out some of those channels I recommended, as they will really help you along on your journey in the Mark 1 community.